So going back after you complete the registration, when you sign in, you'll be faced with 2 green buttons. Play solo practice, team competitions. There's part 1, part 2. 20 points for this assignment, 20 points for this assignment. Now, you're going to do the solo practice first, and then you're going to work after a couple weeks of class. I'll send out all the team assignments, and then you're going to start working on completing the team assignment. Okay, so let's go into play solo practice first. So you click on here, and you're going to play against computer players. So this, you can be self-paced. You can go as fast or slow as you want. So in the first screen, you have to develop your sales. So here we're looking at most, if not all, car companies have 4 divisions. They have economy class cars, sedan class cars. These are like the family cars your mom and dad drive. The truck class cars. These are trucks, pretty obvious. And the luxury cars. This is what you're going to drive once you graduate and get a big job. And buy a nice luxury car. Okay. So the economy class car is maybe what college students are driving now while they're in school and they don't have a huge amount of money. So this is a smaller car, usually less expensive, but focuses more on price and the fuel economy. So you'll see here the importance factors for fuel economy and price are the most important, where engine power and luxury features are less important. So this percentage means what percentage of people who buy the car are going to really focus on these features. So you want to compete more heavily on the ones where it has more importance. So you may want to be closer to the customer expectation on fuel economy, but for luxury features, you can even go below customers' expectations and won't affect your vehicle too much, or you can stay within the expectation range, but more closer to the low point. So here, maybe I want to go at the high point, or I can even go above it if I wanted to. So as I'm constructing the vehicle, I want to put in my numbers here, and then I get to the sales price. So this is a big part of why people buy the car. So probably going to want to be, under the maximum amount. And then I get the gross profit percentage. Now, 34% here, I would say, is low. You want to try to be at 40% or higher when you first start out. So I would go in here and I would just change a few things to get this above 40%. Now the sales forecast, this is going to be, how do you figure out the sales forecast? Well, they have a user guide, a student manual at the bottom here that you can open up. And the student manual is critical to doing well in the simulation. So as you go through the student manual, it's going to talk about the design and development of each car. That's what we're doing now. And then it's going to move into sales forecasting. It's going to explain sales forecasting and the growth rate of each vehicle per year. You're a small company. So think of it like this. All the gas engine car companies have gone out of business. And now a new group of hydrogen and electric car companies are competing to be in the marketplace. A lot like what's happening today in the electric car market vehicle. There's a lot of small electric car companies out there. Even Apple's thinking about creating its own electric car that are going to compete against each other. So the industry, you're going to start out small and you're going to grow pretty quickly as the industry takes off. So this is year 0, where everyone has a year 0 and we all started with these sales. In year 1, this is the first year that we're working on. These are the average sales. So these are the sales you can expect to sell if everybody made the same exact decisions. So you would have to figure out if your car is better or worse to figure out if you should forecast above or below this base amount. So this is sort of your guide. You want to keep that. So this will prevent you from having very inaccurate forecasts. You stay somewhat close to this number, but going above or below it based on if you feel your car is very competitive or your car is not so competitive. Then as you move through, it's going to talk about the marketing, what's effective for each of the car classes as far as the marketing, and you convert that into dollars and the different marketing budgets. It goes in, then it'll move into research and development, how investing in research and development will help make your cars better and more cost effective. And it will continue into your capital structure, which is important for this finance class, how to ask for additional long-term, short-term debt or issue new stock. And then eventually it's going to talk about the financial statements, which is a great reinforcement for this class. And then the financial ratios, which is very critical, especially chapter 3 of this course. And then it continues the industry data, the charts that are available, and how, the different roles of the company and teamwork. Okay, so that's something you should read over, the user guide. You see, very friendly, not a lot to read, 15 pages or so, magazine-like, so take the time to read that over. So looking from the user guide, specifically the forecast area of the user guide, I see here 2188. So I'm going to go, and I'm just going to say 2000. I don't think my cars are that competitive, so I'm going to go under the forecast. Now I'm going to go to the sedan. I'm going to do the same thing with the sedan. I'm going to enter in now these are just example numbers. You can use these numbers or not use these numbers. I'm just these are just examples. And I'm going to put in my forecast. I'm going to actually go a little higher on this one. I think I can do better than the industry. And I'm going to start on truck. And then I'll put the price in for truck. And then I'm going to move into, actually, so this is, I have a little room to move this up. So let me move this up. Because this is what's most important for the truck. So I want to get this within the zone here. Okay. To the top of the zone. So I'm still above 40%, which is good on the truck. And then I'm going to do the luxury brand here. Now, when it says they don't really care so much about price here, so I'm going to put the full price here. And that's because with a luxury vehicle, no one wants to drive around a discount luxury vehicle. So I'm going to put my sales in there. Okay, so I forecast a little bit higher than the average, see how that works out. And I'm going to submit the sales page. And then you go into the marketing page. So here in the marketing page, again, I'm going to have to refer to the student manual to understand better about what's effective. So it looks like for economy, newspapers and television are most effective. So I'm going to go back here and see this is the budget. So I'm going to put in 300,000 for newspapers and TV because that's what's most important. And then I might spread out some money in some of the other categories that are less important. But I don't want to miss anything because if I miss anything, then other students will wind up getting all the business in those areas if I don't have some presence. So that's how you fill out the marketing. This demographic here, it doesn't make a difference what you put here. It's not going to affect your sales at all. It's just for the reflective observations. In the team competition, when you play the team competition, there's going to be some reflective observations that you need to fill out, which will be, they're questions that come at the bottom that you need to enter in related to what you're doing. Okay, so you need to do this for all 4 companies. I'm going to pause it while I fill it in for the rest of the marketing because it takes a while, and then we'll move into the next one. Now we're in production, and I see that I currently have 1 production plant that can make 1,000 vehicles, and I'm forecasting 2,000 vehicles, and I have 100 units in inventory already. So that means I need to make 1,900. So I'm going to have to buy 1 vehicle, 1 production plant. And when you buy a production plant, you get to keep that forever. So I have to invest in a production plant this round. Okay, and I want this excess shortage to be 0. I want to make exactly what inventory plus my production to equal my forecast. So I really want this to be 0. And then I want to make sure I'm going to invest in my vehicle. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to get some operational investments to keep my vehicle the latest in the technology and the latest in cost efficiency. And if you don't reinvest in your company is going to fall far behind. And that's the number 1 mistake most students make when completing the simulation here. So this is why you do the practice, so you can learn the mistakes now, and when you do the team competition, you don't make them again. Okay, so here I'm going to need actually 2 production plants so I can get to a capacity of 3,000 because I'm forecasting 3,000. So let me put that in here. Maybe I just want to put it in the electric technology here. And each level I add is going to make my cars more competitive, but better technology and lower cost to manufacture. Okay, so I'll just need 1 production plant here. and 1800 here. And I need one production plant. Okay. And I'm going to submit. Now I'm going to review my finance page. So I go to the very bottom first, and I see that I have a deficit. No company should plan on a deficit. So I'm going to have to ask for some additional funds. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to borrow some additional money from three sources. I'm going to issue stock. I'm going to issue stock. I'm going to issue short-term debt and long-term debt. And I'm issuing a total of $15 million, and that's going to bring me to a surplus of $6 million. So I'm going to complete year one. So only in the practice games do I have instant feedback and results. The team competition, you have to wait till it's processed. So now I get to round two, and I have the overview score. So I made 700 points, which is pretty good for year one. Now, if I look over, I see that my quick ratio went down because I borrowed money. I could see that my debt ratio improved because my equity went up faster than my debt. My profit margins improved, and my equity multiplier, return on equity, earnings per share, return on assets, they all improved. My market capitalization went up. My forecasts were more accurate. I had a operational investment. I earned money for investing and earned points for investing, doubling the investments of my company, but I had a deficit. So why did I have this deficit where it showed I had a surplus before? We'll investigate that in a minute. And all of these financial ratios will be discussed and talked about and worked on during the class, so you get a better understanding of these as the class goes by. But this is how your points are calculated. So if you have a 90% increase in revenue, you'll earn 90 points. So 1% over a year-over-year change. So if I go from 12 to 23, that's about a 90% year-over-year increase, and I earned 1 point for every point increased. That's how that works. Now for the assessment, I can go in and I can see how I did. I did very well on my revenue, and I can click and it'll show me how to improve that. So I get an excellent rating here. You can use this for all the key categories to understand how you performed and how you did, and to get extra help on how to improve it. You can go into charts. You can review your performance here under charts. Specifically, I think the performance charts are very important because it will tell you at the bottom what your sales were versus your forecast. So here, I only forecasted 2,000. I could have sold 69 extra economy class vehicles. Then you go to the industry, and this will show me how I did. It'll summarize my inputs and my outputs and my score, as well as all of my competitors for last year. So I can kind of size up what I did, what the most successful players did, and how to change things. Here, the financials are completely backed up. And in Chapter 3, we'll go over income statement, balance sheet, and statement of cash flows as it pertains to finance. And then we start over again in sales. So now I have last year's decisions. I see that my operational cost reductions have increased. And I get all the information I need from last year to help me make decisions for this year. If I go to production, I'll find out why I had that deficit. So over here are 392 cars I didn't sell. So anything left in my inventory are cars I didn't sell. So I had planned to sell these cars. I didn't actually sell them, so I never generated the sales revenue or the profits. And that's how I ended up with this unexpected deficit in year one, which cost me, I lost 100 points. I should have been gaining 100 points. So I would have scored 900 points if it wasn't for that deficit. So that's why if you over forecast, you don't have enough of a surplus, you may run into that deficit again. So now I'm going to, do the same, start that same process over again. I'm going to first, look at the student manual to see where the sales are going to be in year two. And then I'm going to have to think about how well I sold compared to my previous rounds, and think about my new forecasts. And then we're going to go in and I'm going to redo it all over again. So I'm going to go back for round two, and I'm going to I'm continuing with round two. Don't reset your practice game. Just keep moving forward. Even if you don't do so well in round one, just keep moving forward. I'm in round two. I want to get this all the way to this is Y-6 and complete year 6, and I'll be done. You can see that it's not a tremendous amount of time, and this is why I'm taking the time now to go over this to show you how to complete this easily. Okay, and you get these warnings if you don't put enough. Sometimes if you put it too low, you might get a warning. So I'm going to raise the price, and I'm going to raise the forecast. So I'm going to put in my new variables. I'm going to raise the price here. And I want to make sure that if I'm raising that, my profit margin is going up. So here my profit margin is going up. That's good. Here it's going down. So I'm going to lose points. Investors hate it when profit margins go down. So I'm going to have to rethink how I'm doing things to get those profit margins back up. So here it's about flat. So maybe I'm going to probably be forced to raise the price. Okay, so now I've actually improved a bit here. And okay, so I got the profit margin, but not up tremendously. So this is going to be something that I'm going to have to focus more on more operational cost reductions to help get that up higher as I'm going. So and again, here I'm up 2%. As long as I'm up, I'm happy with that. And I'm going to increase the forecast here. And you see okay, and I got this up by 1 percentage point. I'm going to try and see if I can do a little bit better with that. Okay, so I got it up a couple percentage points. And I'm not making, my cars aren't as good, but I'm going to try to, you know, do the marketing off camera because it takes too long. I don't want to waste too much of your time. This video is already kind of long. So now I'm going to go in production for year 2. And I see I need another production plant to get me to 3,000. And I'm going to put in my 3,000 here. And I'm going to increase my operational investments. Now here is interesting. If I go to 4,000 plants, my capacity utilization is going to be pretty poor. So basically, since I have almost 400 cars in inventory, which I can reuse in the previous round, it might be better actually if I lower my forecast here to 3392. So this way, if I do that, so if I go back to the sales page and I lower this to 3392, I have to resubmit that. I can go back and make adjustments. Now, I didn't save the production page, so if I leave the production page and I come back, now the information I put in before is missing because I didn't save it. So I'm going to go ahead and re-enter that information in again. And increase these. Okay, so now I have enough with my leftover inventory to meet all my demand without buying another production plant, which is going to save me. I believe these production plants cost 10 or 20 million. So if I could go without buying a production plant, because I don't want to buy a production plant just to make a couple hundred cars because it's too expensive. It's a waste of my utilization to have a plant open. It's only going to run for a few months in the year. So I want to be very conservative when I buy these new production plants. So for example, here too, I can do the same thing here too. So I'm just going to build what I need without buying a new production plant. And I'm going to increase these forecasts. So now you can see that I'm not matching my sales forecast. And the one consequence of doing that is that my okay, and it'll give you an error here saying that for this one, I have no choice. I'm going to have to buy a production plant. But it's going to be a poor utilization of my money. And it's going to be the same thing for what I did in the truck class. So I'm going to have to buy a production plant here because I don't have, so if you get the error, you need another production plant to make the cars you need to make. So you can't buy half a plant, so sometimes you buy these plants and you don't use all the cars, which makes you a little bit less efficient. But let's see how we do on the surplus. Okay, now I have a $14 million surplus down here. I'm going to borrow some more money because I don't want to run into another unexpected deficit like I had last year. So I'm going to issue some more money in all three categories again. They can be different amounts. They don't have to be the same amount. So this could be 4, this could be 7. Okay. So now I have a pretty big surplus of 30 million. That should keep me doing well. So I'm going to complete round 2. And now I get my points. I had my surplus, so I got my 100 points for that. I had 100 points for my operational investments. My profit margins were up slightly. Some areas I didn't do as well, but overall, if you can make anywhere between 300 points or greater each round, you're doing well. So the first round, you can make a lot of points easily because you're coming off of decisions from a very bad management. Now in the second round, I'm competing against my decisions from the first round. So it's going to be a little bit harder to top what I did previously. So trying to get between 300 to 400 points each round moving forward will get you to the minimum scores you need to earn to get your cumulative points. So as you go through, you go to the industry page, you'll see your cumulative points down here. So right now I had 700 for the first round, 400 for the second round, and my total points are 1,177. And so you can do the same thing. Your assessments, your charts, review your industry, review your financials, and you go to the finance page again, and you complete that again. So now that I'm continuing to move forward, I've doubled my operational investments, so it's going to be easier to keep those profit margins up. So if I put in you see I'll be able to increase these profit margins because I have these operational cost reductions. So as you move into round 3, you do the same procedures again, but now by round 3 or 4, you may be able to retire some funds because in my overview, I'm starting to lose points in this quick ratio and it's getting expensive to pay these interest rates. So if I start retiring funds, you'll see my interest rate, see the interest rate here, it will go down if I start retiring funds. And if I buy back stock, my amount of earnings per share will go up and my stock price will go up. So by the third, maybe fourth round, you should start retiring your debt. So maybe the third round might be too early, but depending on how your company's running, you may still need some additional funds, but then by 4, 5, and 6, you definitely want to start retiring funds and retiring stock, and that will make your points go up even more. So again, you finish your Y3, Y4, Y5, Y6, and you're done with the practice rounds. Okay, so this is my video to demonstrate how to complete the practice rounds. Later on, after the practice rounds are done, you completed that part of the assignment, you're going to move into the play team competition. When you're in the team competition, you can click here to view the processing schedule. Each person in the competition will take a role. Austin could be the president, Jane can be the VP of sales, Bob could be the marketing. This is part of a role play. You don't have to make the decisions 100% associated with your position. You should all work together as a team to make all the decisions and figure out what's best for your company. And the team competition will work a lot like the individual, except you're competing against teams of other students and you have to work together to complete it. But the simulation is basically going to be the same, where you need to complete sales, marketing, production, and finance, just like in the solo. But this, now you're competing against other teams of other players within the class. I will send out a schedule later on to show you later on after after 10 days of the class has been running. I'll send out a schedule to you that will tell you, give you instructions on how to discover what your team name is and your teammates are. And you're going to be using, when that's set up, you can always refer to the group. The groups here, this is where you can also find out, not right away, it's going to take some time before I set this up, but you can find out your team and your teammates in there. So once you're done with the solo practice game, I will get those results. You can also, when you complete the first round of the solo practice game, you can actually run a second group of solo practice if you want more practice. And remember, you're trying to score above 1,500 points. And you see after the first 2 rounds, I got 1,100 points. So this is not that hard to do. It's just practice because I want you ready for the team competition, which is the other 20 points of this project. And in that competition, again, it won't start to February 22nd, but you'll be in a group of 5 students and you can complete 6 rounds, 1 round a week as the class progresses. And there you need 2,200 points to get the full grade at that point. Okay, so this has been the video to explain the Zoom simulation and give you a step-by-step instructions of how you can complete the rounds and move forward through the rounds and review your results. I hope you found this helpful, and good luck with the course. Thank you. And keep in mind that this class code here will change. Don't rely on the video to know what your class code is. This video could be used for multiple classes. So make sure that you always check Blackboard to get the latest course IDs or course codes for your software. Thank you.